What is going on, people? Welcome back to another of Gotrik's adventure episodes where he tries to acquire 1,000,000 gold. I do appreciate you being here. Please consider leaving a comment. I read them all. I respond. Leave me a like at the very least if you are enjoying. Let me know you're there. Those things I find motivating, and I will keep it up regardless, though. So there you go. So, picking up with Gotrik. Way back, there's a lot that's going to go down here. We're still working towards melee great weaponry in terms of research. And, I don't know, food's coming in. The animals are in an unideal location. More trolls wander in. This is a constant problem. They always seem to filter into our growing area where our animals hang out. We're going to do what we can to mitigate that before the end of this episode. And plague strikes the animals, and I guess that by now they've recovered, but this is a very disease-intense biome. Our Mournfang is still injured from either outcasts or beastmen. It must have been outcasts. But meat stays in strong supply due to all the chaos with the animals around, and not the forces of chaos, the actual madness that continually occurs. The drum is a frequently played item. We also do get another instrument by the end of this episode. But otherwise, all in all, things are pretty chill at the moment. So we're still working on smoothing. We're going to make a gold room at some point. And I'm thinking somewhere back in this area, far away from any open terrain. We should be able to keep them safe. I'm sure we're going to uncover more open space in this episode, as you will see. But we need somewhere to put the gold. I want it to have its own giant vault. And Gotrik's chilling out, relaxing socially. We're slaughtering baby chickens wide open. Gotrik has a lot of magic points. I'm saving him up for when he gets some non-lore spells. I think if we could get like a transport spell, that'd be fantastic. The other guys, I'm trying to make sure they all have at least each spell in their lore. Jagged Rock uses his magic to improve the hit points on a wizard staff. And we can cast Magic Light more frequently, and it'll last longer now that we've improved the Eliminate the Edifice spell. And that allows us to clear out some lights from our current feasting hall. So let's go ahead and get that done. Produces a lot more light, and it requires no refueling, so you also do have to spend the time to recast it periodically. But this room needs a pillar in the middle to support the roof. I'm going to get on to apparel repair. We're having a lot of tattered apparel issues, and it would be nice if we could get those taken care of. We do bounce around and research quite a bit here. Food continues to rot. I'm working towards mining. I do notice some open area slightly below where they're working now. I'm just trying to see if there's any open space anywhere yet. Sometimes the corners are open. We're going to try this next line, given that there's no roof in that general area and it looks like open space. We do find some steel over on the left side. Otherwise, it's bedtime. We're almost done with the smoothing too, which is fantastic. We can finally move on. We do find a little area, but it's not of much consequence straight away. Another Mournfang self-tames, and this gives us a breeding pair of Mournfang. I've been working on getting these guys trained up too. They're going to be pretty phenomenal. They're going to haul, and they're really good fighters too. So another area revealed, and this one ends up being a rather sizable one, as you can see. So good thing we didn't mine too much further that way. Gonna expose ourselves. We do find some gold, though. So that's fantastic. At least we improve or increase our gold numbers this episode. They get that mined out with little trouble. And Gotrik happily carries a pile of gold back inside. We're going to make storage. We need a hospital, so this area is going to be dedicated to those things. With the shelves and supplies being moved into individual workrooms on shelves, we should have plenty of space in this room to get things done. We find sulfur. We find all kinds of stone coming together too, up in the upper left corner of the map. They make quick work of Oh, there's a chaos portal nearby, which we decide not to do. We have to make food to travel with, so that becomes the next priority as well. So we're going to plant stone root and make stone bread, which isn't an ideal meal, but it does keep a long time for road travel. We are taming animals just to practice our skill, and then they get slaughtered right away. So there's a caravan from the ogre tribe that approaches. Sadly, the slaves that they're offering are pretty it's all humans, and there's several frail and elderly people that we're just simply not interested in. We do manage to sell a ton of stuff and buy a lore ground scroll along with a potion of medicine learning. We get rid of mostly textiles. We buy a bunch of hats for everybody. I think it'd be cool. We also bought a gong, so we'll get that set up. Once we get a proper security area in place, this lower ground spell will be pretty phenomenal. You do have to spend a magic point to actually learn the spell. So, and there's the gong in place and being banged on. It does. We also bought an ogre drum. You'll see that on the right in the feasting hall there. So those all provide the same type of recreation in terms of music, but we are making rugs as well. We have some hides around from animals. We can turn those into rugs to beautify rooms. This room's going to be the hospital when we get to it, and I've set up a zone specific to buildings so we know exactly which buildings we have that we aren't using. Otherwise, it's just keep building shelves, trying to keep that area clear. That center zone is the catch-all, so I'm going to do what I can to keep that empty. Hayes focuses on research with his fancy new hat. The stone Brit is growing. It doesn't grow terribly fast, but it is what it is. And hospitals need shelves for medicine. A lot of meat continually rots away. There's just not a lot we can do about it. And at that point, a troll who came into our zone kills and eats one of our chickens. So we're just not going to have this anymore. We're at a point where we have enough people and power that I don't have to worry about these dumb butts coming in causing us this kind of problem. Plus, we also have all this awesome magic we can use. And not to mention a bunch of great melee people with really powerful melee weapons. And it doesn't take long for this guy to get schmucked. We don't take any wounds outside of the one that the chicken took. So there's that. Moods are mostly good. Hayes was a little crabby there. You can see I have the color-coded mood bar mod going. And they bust out these beds in no time at all. It's nice having a lot of constructors around, especially with relatively decent skill. Things get done and they get done well. We also make meditation cushions rather than having meditation spots around. They beautify a room and provide more comfort for the meditation. We have food overflowing into the default storage room and a warpstone meteor nearby. That is an extremely tempting target. It's a ton of wealth. We could take that to the ogres and make out like champions. It is pretty far away around the impassable mountains though. At this point, it's going to be tough, and once we can get some kind of transport spell, we'll be in better shape. Some people are passing by from the Empire of Man. One of them has some magic. They are our ally, and we intend to keep it that way, though, so we're not going to go and offend them. They do get attacked by a timber wolf, which we then decide to hunt. Bolton took some damage there, but gets himself tended up. We do periodically find animals laying about as well that predators have killed, so we take them in. And otherwise, things are coming along nicely. We're getting a ton done. This room is going to be an armory, somewhere just to store weaponry. A Jabberlife shows up at that point, and I'm eager to get more magicians. So by consuming a Jabberlife tongue, there's a 5% chance that pawn will become a wizard. So we're going to send Hayes over to deal with it. His magic is hyper powerful against critters, so why not leverage it? When you make these spells, as the guy who made them, you don't really realize what level of potential abuse there is. And these are two that were definitely, or this spell, sorry, was definitely available for some significant abuse, because you can just do that to even the toughest of critters. So I wish I could work in some kind of magic resistance system. I think that'd be a fun thing. But it's a lot of work to classify every animal and add a magic resistance. And maybe I could only do it to the big, like the Thrumbos and the Jabberslice of the world. But it is something I'm considering. Cadorson has a mental break, but Gotrik comes out and takes care of it with the magic spell. Again, we don't get cathartic for that, but it does end the insulting spree immediately before everybody's pissed off. Heine is going to try and get some magic by eating this Jabberlife tongue, and does not have any luck. She receives no bonus, sadly. She does get Chaos Corruption, which will make her go berserk on occasion, but not this time, fortunately. So Hayes stays active on the research tip. The psychic drone is brutal at -30 here, I can tell you that. It's also irritating, the constant stream of food rotting away. The Chaos Abominations show up about that time, and Gotrik's just chilling out, relaxing socially, although by himself, which is interesting. And everybody's just doing their thing. We're going to mine out this section and install some war machines, some grudge throwers. That'll be good. We're also going to bring some wood outside for rebuilding these traps. Again, we do have the Chaos Beasts. They're finally going to attack at this point. These guys never flee. You have to take them out to the critter. No survivors. So we get ready for that mess. Again, some proper security would be massively helpful here. First batch of dogs, or Chaos Warhounds as it were, dies on the traps. The Warhounds are significantly faster than the rest of those dudes, so they always get there first and take out your traps and let the tough guys come in. Yeah, it says not all bad. So we open up with the magic. I have some melee people just kind of laying in the weeds. And by weeds, I mean hay grass. I'm waiting for the bigger, tougher guys to come in before I start really using the magic, because these Chaos Warhounds, they die relatively quickly. Now, Despy and our wizards are at risk here. So we also need to start moving, getting busy on taking those dudes out. Gotrik, Hayes, focusing on magic. We're going to try and snare the big guy here. He's actually pretty intimidating and will rip people's arms and heads off with little effort. So we're going to see if we can't drop him magically. Seems like a great use. And we might get lucky and take out another guy or two. Because when you improve that spell, it will take out multiple targets. Look at that, though. The Mournfang's fighting on our side, and that's pretty awesome. Hayes is taking some abuse and bleeding pretty good. Again, these guys never flee, so it's got to be all of them gone. Well, with the fences and the traps down, the horses decide to flee, which is what it is. I'm not terribly worried about it. At some point, we probably will use those horses and want those horses. But for now, whatever. I'm going to get the fence rebuilt straight away. We also need to get some tending done. But with our fancy new hospital, that shouldn't be much of an issue. There's some dwarfs passing by. I do have a slight issue right now with the beards on some of the dwarfs not showing up where they should. So I noticed that while I was playing this episode. I got to get in and fix that issue. We're going to butcher those cast critters because their hide is rather worth something. However, their meat is inedible unless you want chaos corruption build up in your dudes, which you really don't, trust me. So I need to stay on top of pulling roof out of here so nobody gets collapsed upon, because that would be problematic. The Mournfang tends to stay around with the dude Kaza. I think he's bonded to. And with that, the first of the war machines is finished as well. So when people stand around and prepare to attack us, they're doomed. They're not going to be able to keep up. There's some man-hunting Pegasi that show up at that point, and quite a few of them. And it's a little bit intimidating because they are super fast. I did create an in the hold fast zone, so we restrict everybody to that. But we do have to get somebody to run out there and close our door, because should they get in, we're not going to be in the best shape. Doesn't make sense to use our war machines on them. We're mining down south. We're going to build a second barn. And just looking at the crazy magical critters around, Stone Shield does manage to get the door closed, and about 100 Pegasi start pounding on it. But I will say it does hold up. Sturdy dwarven craftsmanship. Fantastic. I forbid that door, and away we go. Now, that gives us some time to focus on all the things that need to get done. Nice big barn. We'll grow some plants down in that open area in the south there as well. Once we get the barn done, we do find some more sulfur laying about. We're going to build a munitions room, and all that'll get stuffed in there eventually. A little bit short on meat, and we can't really get outside right now, so we do end up having to switch to simple meals for a time. We're going to smooth all of our main hallways too, just for speed of travel and to make things prettier. It would be nice if we could get them all lighted, but that's kind of a tall order right now. Poking around, we're going to go advanced war machines because we do want to make grudge writs, which do more damage and provide more accuracy for our grudge throwers. That's going to be a goal. Our chickens are producing fertilized eggs, and that's okay. We do kill a lot of baby chickens, but I just don't want this chicken thing to get out of hand. We don't have a ton of space to be producing food for them, so we're doing what we can to keep the animals we have good to go. You can see Gotrik's a beast with that belt of ardor. It does have 12 magic points right now. Again, I'm saving it up for some big spells we can encounter. So I'm going to work towards getting the gold stored away somewhere safe and out of the way, where hopefully outside of a potential Skaven infestation, which keeping the room lit shouldn't... there's a Mournfang hauling, but keeping the room lit should avoid infestation. I do find some regular roof over here, so there's a little bit of a clue as to the fact that we're going to find something there. The Pegasi have mostly pissed off, but there's still a few about. And Jagged Rock does end up encountering a large open area, which is not ideal. I mean, there's some material we can reclaim. At least it doesn't go to the map edge, too. No, there's a benefit. But we do need a door to block that off and keep the inside inside and the outside outside. I let the Mournfangs wander. They're pretty useful. One of them is pregnant, but also is malnourished. So at some point, we just have to get outside again. And there's a handful of critters laying around we can go pick up. We're also just going to let the Mournfang go feed as they will. I'm not sure if they'll go out and hunt on their own, but they might. I'm going to start deconstructing all this crap straight away. Just, we can use different colors of stone and whatever's about. You never know what you're going to find. We take the old barn apart. We're going to make a secondary sneaky entrance over there. And a wild dude shows up. And that's intriguing. We do have the ability to tame him now. So we're going to try and expand. You see that guy's beard was just sideways. Somebody dropped some chem fuel for us, which is cool because we can turn that into black powder when we get a munitions room set up. So it will be useful. And I don't know why all the beards broke all of a sudden, but that's the problem with modding. People are always changing shit in other mods that you rely on, and that's constantly causing a problem for you, somebody who leverages a handful of mods. Somebody throws some diamonds. They arrive via magical means, and that's some nice wealth we can swap for gold at some point, but perhaps we can make something cool out of it too. It'd be awesome to make a diamond throne when we get to the point of having Dwarven royalty / leadership. So you can see the hold's come a long way already this episode. We got the animals moved. We got a lot of shit smooth. The whole front has been enclosed and is being used for various things. And we have this nice open space down below. At this point, an Empire goods trader shows up too. We're going to expand the cooler a little more. These guys, they do have a freezing statue, which is the #1 thing we've been looking for. We sell a bunch of textiles and odds and ends clothing. And main awesome purchase is freezing statue. I haven't left a spot for it. So that should solve all of our food issues. You see, it's temperatures dropping rapidly in there, and it does get well below freezing. So there you go. Food problem solved, assuming Skaven don't show up and destroy that. There is a witch hunter out there. This is one of the more recent things I've added. It's got the cool witch hunter gear and sweet little pistol. It says he's a bounty hunter, but he's also a witch hunter. There's just different types of that. So I'm seeing if we can leave the butcher room door open and freeze everything, and it looks like we can. We don't want to leave the cook room door open because the hearth does produce heat. So I might have to isolate those two rooms with a double wall at some point if it becomes a problem, but everything's holding just fine in terms of temperature. So I'm going to double door the butcher room just to keep temperatures more ideal. They go in and out of there quite a bit, dumping stuff off. I was debating on opening the freezer room up to the outside with a double door so we can just take supplies directly in, but at least we get some stage of isolation. At that point, the Mournfang kills and eats something. Oh, the wild man. He attacked, killed, and ate that wild man Brock that we wanted to recruit. I've been putting little tables around so they have various eating spots. There's the ever-present social fight as well. One guy insulted the other guy's hair. Kaza deserves the ass kicking because he started the fight. He loudly insulted Jaggedrock's hair. And as you can see, he paid the price. I don't like them wearing wizard's clothes. I haven't really started fricking around with setting up clothes restrictions yet. But that is on the short list because what a hassle. Anyways, you can see the fires rage. Things have come a long way. We now have war machines, extra space, a proper barn, secure animals, other open space we could do something with when we decide to, and fires raging everywhere. The whole front end is done. We'll do something more with this area, obviously. We do need a ton of workrooms yet. I might make another storage room elsewhere as well. Any self-taming turkeys will be put down as we're at our animal capacity right now. But please, leave me a like. I love you. Leave me a comment. I read them all. I respond. I appreciate you being with me today. Magic points are out of hand. I haven't really been using too many of them. I'm trying to, again, get everybody to have at least each spell they have capacity for. But otherwise, I'm saving those up. It won't be long before we have travel food. We can get out on the world map, too. So that'll be fantastic. But yeah. What a difference 3 hours of play makes, huh? This jealous dude is a bit of a problem, too. Kaza, that's part of the reason he's so unhappy. Anyways, that's it, guys. I will see you all next time.